That song touches my heart when I think of the presence of what God is, and I think of the beauty and the energy that we are supported with. I think of basic trust, and when we have that, we can open to what Robert just played. This beautiful, that energy is so beautiful, and it's so different. It's so different than when I was a kid, and I'm thinking about when I was a kid. I thought of God differently than I think about God now, and maybe you did too. And God was Jesus up in the sky, and it was somebody that was there to keep an eye and watch over me, right? And watch over me, and I liked that, and I got it. But then there's a verse in the Bible, and it says, it's in Corinthians, and it says something like, when I was a child, I spoke like a child, I understood like a child, I thought like a child. And then I put away childish things when I became a man. So I think I became a man. and I don't know why it has to say man, but it does. But I could put that away, and all of a sudden, there's an energy, and it's not a man up there watching over you. It's not somebody that is, watching what you do, but there's an energy that lifts you. A God, beautiful energy that lifts you and supports you no matter what's going through in your life. It's instead of thinking that before there was somebody watching over me and I was afraid of them, now there's a beautiful energy that will always be there, no matter what you're going through in your life. It will lift you through it. It's a life energy that's a mystery, because God is a mystery and it's different for everybody. But what I've learned so, deeply in my life is that I don't have to know what it is, and it can take the form of a person or a man. If you make it more personal, that's okay too. But for me, it's this incredible, deep energy that I can trust and I can love, and that guides me through my life. That gives me a sense of well-being no matter what's going on in my life. Through the ups, through the downs, through the joys, through the sorrows, there is a sense of well-being in my life. I can wrap my head around that. Today, I can't wrap my head around a big guy in the sky. It changes, right? It changes for each of us. I know that basic trust is what we're talking about today, and that makes my life okay. Because I can open up and I can just be what I am and know that the universe will support that, no matter what in my life. So I think out of all the qualities that we talk about, wisdom, we talk about joy, we talk about love, these are all God qualities. And I think that trust is so important because that's kind of the foundation. When we have that basic faith and that trust in life, then we're able to have the rest. I'm reminded of a story. It's a Sufi story, and it's about an old woman that was walking through the mountains, and she finds this beautiful, precious stone in the river. And she pulls it out, and she puts it in her purse. And as she's admiring it, or as she goes about her business, another fellow traveler, a guy, comes by, and he asks for some food. And she opens up her purse and says, sure, I'll give you some food. She has a sandwich in there or something. So she opens up her purse, and he looks in and sees this beautiful stone. And he said, can I have the stone? And she just looks at him and says, yes, you may have it. So he takes the stone and he runs off. And as he's running, he looks down and he sees the stone and he stops. And he runs back to her and he gives her back the stone. And here's what he says. He says, I'm giving back the stone in hopes that you will give to me that which is more precious than any stone. I want what it is that enabled you to give me the stone. So the Sufi story goes on about what is it? See, it's different. There isn't an answer. It's different for each person. What is it inside that would enable someone to give something that is precious to them? And for me, we're talking about trust. We're talking about basic faith in life. You can give of your heart. You can give everything if you have a trust in life that something's always there. You're not attached to what's outside, that it always is from what's inside. Everything comes from the inside out. That's where our life comes from. So everything out there is only out there. So the material is nothing compared to what you have here. What precious stones do you have in your life that you're holding on to? What precious stones do you have that you're holding on to in your life? And when we trust that our security, Eric Butterworth talks about the security that we hold. And when we know that our security isn't out there, we can love, we can use it, we can have fun with the material stuff in our world. We, can have cars and houses and everything like that, but our trust and our faith has to come from inside. We have to know that that's where it comes from. Living with the idea of what's out there doesn't give us security. We have to consider that in our lives. We have to know, the truth about our life, about what is precious to you, what is precious in your life. See? And when we have this trust that our life will always work out, everything is easier. Trust is an emotional, mental muscle. And that's what Marianne Williamson says, and I love that. She says we have to build it, right? We have to practice trust. We don't just trust. I think we do when we're little, right? We just trust and then we kind of lose it. But as we go through life, it's something that we have to decide that we're going to do. We have to decide we're going to live from that factor of trust in our life. She says that it comes from the aspect of our mind with every attitude that we demonstrate. We're either demonstrating trust in life, or trust in fear, right? You're demonstrating with every attitude that you have. I have faith this isn't going to work out. I have a brother like that, I hope he doesn't listen to this. But that's, it's like, oh, this isn't going to work. Oh, I have faith, this isn't going to work. I trust this isn't going to work. Nothing, works in his life. You can do that, and you're building that muscle. Or you can have faith that everything's going to work out. You can have faith that you're in the hands of something beautiful. And when you have that, you attract that to you. And your life is beautiful. We need to put our faith or our trust in disasters and not, we put trust, she says, this is what Marianne Williamson said, that we put trust in disasters and not in miracles of our life. And that as we grow our muscle, that our life changes. And we grow, our life changes. And she says, and I think I read it in the first part of the talk, she says, it's hard to do that when you have a pile of bills, right, in front of your hand and you can't pay your bills. How are you going to trust, And how do you have faith in recovery instead of faith in the loss? And it's hard to do that when your body's hurting or somebody next to you is hurting. How do you have that? And I know that I thought about that in my life, boy, because there's times in my life when I don't know if I had the trust, but somehow I got through it and I built on it and my life became better and better and better because of it. And it was the trust that carried us through this. And what I know is that the stuff that you go through in your life is just a step to greater and greater things in your life. And through the times, we talk about, I think, financial issues, and I know there's stuff in here, you guys have those. I had those, and I'll tell you, health issues, I know a lot of you have dealt with that, and I've had that too. And I'm thinking about a time, and I've talked about this before, but it's so important to the idea of trust, was when we started Common Ground, Judy and I, and boy, you're talking about financial stuff. I can't even tell you. You know what I'm talking about. I probably didn't have 10 cents to my name. I'm not kidding you, nothing. Fred, my husband, was dying. He was sick. We didn't have a place to live because we had made the choice to do Common Ground. So, of course, I lived with Judy at the time and Dennis. They supported me through this whole thing. Fred was dying. Everything in my life was just falling apart. I didn't even think I could go on at the time. I remember laying there with this icicle through me. And then the feeling of trust, and I learned it actually from Judy, I have to be honest with you. She's an amazing woman. She has so much trust that stuff will work out. And through that, watching her and being able to let go of the fear and knowing that life would work out is an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. When you can just know that there's something bigger than you and it's not somebody up there that's going to save you, but that there's something inside of you that will get through it, it makes all the difference in the world. And during that time, I'm thinking about all the gifts. And I remember, and I've talked about this before, but when I can remember, this is just, it's almost embarrassing, and it is embarrassing a little bit to say it, but I want to tell you because if you've ever been through anything in your life where it's humiliating in a way not to be able to have, enough money to be able to buy a cup of coffee, to be able to buy yourself, an outfit, a new outfit, So I remember that one of you, one day, came with a package and it was a new dress, and I couldn't buy clothes. And it's so humbling now. I give my money away now. I just give it, a lot because it's like that meant so much to me. That what the stuff that you get when you let go and you're humble and you trust that the universe will take care of you. And it did, you know. And I remember one time somebody brought me a check, or I think it was a $25 check, and I said, I can't take this, give it to the church. And they said, no, it's not for the church, this is for you. You know, and I got gas on my way home, I didn't have enough gas to get home. It was incredible, the gifts that I got, and I wasn't even talk about this, I don't know how I'm gonna cry, but it's amazing. I got so much, you guys, from this community, and that's why it's not why I love you, but it's so touching that how can you not trust? You know, it's like that was the best part of my life. I look back now and I'm like, oh my God. You know, I had nothing. I was on my hands and knees. Fred was dying. I couldn't do anything. And it was such joy to know you and to have you there. And I trust anything now that I'm going through, because I think that these disasters and this stuff that we go through are platforms for miracles, because that created miracles in my life, you know, that it was just an incredible time of my life. What I learned from that is that I have to change my perception about how I see stuff in my life. When I see that I'm going through stuff, when I see the pain of people hurting and stuff, I have to go beyond that. I have to know that there's something, there's that energy that supports it, right? That supports something bigger in your life. That you let go and you let God. That's a little cliche. But boy, does that work. You know, you let go, you let God, and your life blossoms. Because there's a bigger plan if you trust. That ever a plan that you could make. You know, common ground wouldn't have happened if it wouldn't have been for this whole thing. You know, I needed to do this. I needed to go through this. And I'm looking at the possibilities. There's so many possibilities in the universe that we can't think about when we are in this place. There's so many possibilities. In your life, if you're going through anything, any of these challenges, and you can't seem to see them, they're there. There's possibility after possibility that we can't see when we're in this fear. But when we let go and know that the universe is there to support us, and really trust that. And boy, you know, I had to trust it. There wasn't anything else to trust in my life. And when I started to trust it, everything started to move forward. Everything started to change, you know. And the truth is that trust changed, I love this, trust changed your life. It changes my life by changing me. It changed me. It was during that time I think I became deeper, you know, more open, you know, knew that there was something. I always trusted. I don't know if I always trusted, but I believed, right? There's a difference between believing and knowing and trusting and just knowing. I don't have a doubt today. I don't have a doubt that I'm going to be okay if I lost every single thing in my life today, that I'm going to be okay. I'm talking materially and I'm talking, you know, emotionally, because we rebuild. The universe knows. God didn't bring us here. What's that saying? To drop us now? Is that what it is?
Drop us on our head.
Drop us on our head? I love that. God didn't bring us this far to drop us on our head. And I totally will buy that with all my heart, you know. And that's what gave me the confidence to know, you know, that, you know, I wasn't even going to talk about this. It's kind of embarrassing. I don't know how, it's funny how these talks do this, because I had a whole different talk plan. But, you know, I guess it was important for me to say this today. But what I know is that when I look back at that time in my life, and this whole book that we're doing is about material stuff, so I'm talking more about finances right now, but that my material lack at that time, it humbled me, you know what I'm saying? And that it didn't diminish my fullness in God. And sometimes we feel that way. We feel like we're not as good as somebody else because we don't have enough, right? You know, we're not. And then we need to learn. That was my lesson, to learn that I was so full and beautiful and filled with the Spirit of God as much as somebody that had a lot. Does that make sense? And we have to know that. And sometimes we get down on our knees, you know, and we have to, it's rebuilt in you, I guess is what I'm saying. That I had to learn that my trust was in love and not in fear. You know, and that's what it's in. You know, I can't tell you today that I have so much trust and so much faith that I'm going to be okay, that you're going to be okay, that no matter what happens, this world's going to be okay too. And I believe that with all my heart. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about, you know, basic trust here. It's a Buddhist, you know, word that they use. What I know is about perception. It's about seeing differently. I know that the universe operates on love, you know, and then that when we match our vibration to love, that everything starts to come to us. And I'm talking about financially and emotionally, and, you know, life is a vibration. And as my vibration is raised and I'm joyful and I'm happy, that's what comes to me. And that's what I learned through this whole process, is that I create, I'm the creator, and when I let go and I love, it just comes. It just comes. That it operates, the universe operates on love, and that we are spiritual beings, you guys. We aren't just humans, with our source being out there. Our source is something so incredibly big. Our source is love. That's our source. And we have to remember that, because we can do anything in life. Out there, it doesn't matter, the universe, God, manifest through you, I think that's the most important thing in my whole life, was trust, to be able to just let go and know that, all these precious stones, are precious on the outside, but boy, what is so important to me is that it's here, my heart, knowing that it's all about love. Here's what I know now is whatever's happening in my life, and sometimes it's great, and it's wonderful, and it's exciting, and sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes people hurt you. Sometimes, you watch people that you love hurt, and I know that, and that's hard. But what I do know is that I gotta trust it. I gotta trust that it'll be okay, and it will be. I remember watching Fred die, and thinking, I don't even know how this is gonna go on. How can I do this? And my life is better, and he's still here, and I know my life is better than it's ever been in my whole life. I can't even imagine a different life than I have now. And it's because I think of everything, all of the elements of the universe coming together to support. And when we know that, it changes who you are. You walk differently, you speak differently, you see people differently. You actually see the essence in each person, knowing that everybody, is part of this plan that you're in. That you actually created everybody in your life. That's part of the whole idea here, is that you wouldn't be here. You're all part of my life. Anyway, here's what I know now, that the universe does its part if we do our part. And our part is to be able to align with love and to move your feet. You can't just say, I trust the universe, and then go to bed. You got to move your feet. You got to move your feet and do your part. So my prayer for each of us is that we have a basic trust, that you don't have to learn it the way I did. You don't need to if you really, trust. It took me a while to be able to do that with some great friends and you guys. But man, I'll tell you, to live any other way doesn't work for me, and it won't work for you either. To live with this basic idea that God, this energy of God, of love, is always there, always supporting us. That's my prayer for each of us, is that we have a basic trust in life, that life is good, life is so good, and that we are so blessed to be a part of it. Thank you.